Hello everyone and welcome to the Hill Gardens. Please excuse my scratchy throat today. Stuff is starting to get into bloom in northern Maine. Pollen levels are getting up there and my allergies are kind of, making it a little hard for me to talk lately. So please bear with me. If you're having a hard time to understand me, please just turn your volume up a little bit and we'll get started. So I'll give you a second to get your volume up. Okay, great. Hopefully you can hear me better now. As you can see, I'm standing in front of our seed rack, and I'm going to show you these are our habanero plants. We planted these 12 weeks ago, and they are working on their second set of true leaves. These ones down here that you see, and I can pull these off because they're not needed. These little tiny ones right here are called your seed leaves, okay? They're what come out when the seed very first germinates. Once your true leaves come on, these don't get a whole lot of light. You can see the size of this leaf versus this one. Okay, big difference. And those little tiny leaves get shaded out by the bigger ones, so they don't get a whole lot of sunlight. These are going to be pricked out later, and I'll do a video that when I do that. We're going to turn these 14 habanero plants into 14 individual cells. So you won't see 6 like this, you'll see all 14. And we have another one that's just like it. So we're going to take a 32 cell tray and we're going to prick all these out to get full plants. 32 of them for our habaneros this year. This actually just got watered the other day, so it's still kind of on the heavy side. So, but if you look, you can see that some of the leaves are going a little yellow on me. Okay? And that yellowness is because they lack fertilizer in our seed starting mix. Our seed starting mix is a sterile, let me see if I've got a bag here. A sterile Jiffy seed starting mix. There is no fertilizer in this bag at all. It provides no food. It just gives growing medium for your seeds to start in. We do not add fertilizer to our soils. We'd rather control how much they eat and how fast they get it. From this day on until the 1st of June, they'll be getting watered once a week. Try to keep it the same day every day. However, we may end up having some weeks that we need to water more. If so, then on those days, we're going to give them a little bit of water just to keep them going. And we won't add fertilizer until the day that it's due. So we do it on the same day every week. Like today is Thursday, so we'll probably make it every single Thursday we fertilize. So this is in a half cell tray because I only have 2 6-packs in here. Okay. And you can't fit 3 because they're a little bit of an odd shape. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fertilize, and to do that I'm going to use the Alaska Fish fertilizer. Now, we're not endorsed by them. I actually had to buy this myself. This runs anywhere from $10 to $15 for a quart. Gallon jugs are anywhere from $25 to $30 for a gallon. You can use this out in the garden. If you decide that it's something that you like and you want to use, buy the gallon. It's worth it because 4 of these equal a gallon. But 4 of these at $15 is $60. So you actually, it's like buying 2, getting 2 free when you buy the gallon jug. And I'm going to mix our fertilizer in a gallon water jug. You can use any kind of container that you want. I don't like using watering cans inside. I find them very bulky and cumbersome. I'll use them out in the garden, no problem. They're hard to fill if they have a handle across the top, which ours does. So what I do is I recycle old jugs. This was from my wife's distilled water for her diffuser. So I take the distilled water jugs, fill them up with regular water. If you do not have a filtration system on your faucet for chlorine, like a 2-stage A.O. Smith filter, and when your seedlings are really, really super tiny, then you're going to want to either take the cap off your jug and leave it just sit like this at least 12 hours, preferably 24, and all the chlorine will off gas and your water will be chlorine free. If you have a filtration system, the two-stage filtration system takes and gets rid of the chlorine for you. Although that does take, it takes 2 minutes to fill each of these. If you have a lot to do, use the overnight method. It's a lot easier. So, and I have my little handy dandy measuring spoon. This came with our granulated fertilizer that we're not going to use. I find indoors it's very hard to get it to dissolve in the jug. I can't shake it vigorously enough. So how much do we use? Well, if I was outdoors, that's the size I would use. In this spoon, this here's a tablespoon, this is a teaspoon. Do you need one of these? Well, you can always, you can always get a regular measuring spoon, but this came with our fertilizer. I know I'm not going to use it for food, so I don't mind using it for fertilizer. This little spoon here, that's a teaspoon, that's all we're going to use for a gallon, because we want to cut down the amount of fertilizer. You don't want to over fertilize because you can actually cause problems. You can get fungus. If you fertilize too much, then you get what's called damping off because fungus grows. And this is an organic fertilizer, so fungus and mold can kind of be a little bit problematic with it. So all I'm going to do in each gallon jug is I'm going to fill this little spoon, dump that in, put the cap on, and I'm going to shake it vigorously, and then we're going to bottom water. And I'll show you what bottom watering is here in a second. Okay, so I've opened my bottle, and I'm going to show you the top of this. See that brown? This is very thick, very nasty smelling stuff. It's really getting to me here. But this is actual fish. This is a 511 NPK rating for fertilizer at full strength. So we're going to be using it at third strength. So it's basically a 1.6 to 0.3 to 0.3. What that means is the amount of nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. You do not want to use typically a high nitrogen fertilizer because all it will do is produce foliage for you. So what we're going to do is I've already shaken this up. And do you have to shake it? It doesn't say, but I tend to, just to make sure everything's evenly distributed. And that's a little brown liquid that we're going to put in our jugs here. So here's one, and then I'll hold on to the tablespoon, and I will move things around a little bit so I can get the extra off of it. I have a towel here in my lap because I'm sometimes a klutz and tend to spill. And I do not want this all over my floor. So here we go. So, very little, put it in, and then really quick, I'm going to put the cap on this. Okay. Because like I said, it does stink. I don't want to smell it. I'm going to put it right down here with my other fertilizer. This is what we used to use. This jug is about 3 years old. It is a Super Thrive 411. It's pretty much the same thing. This little jug here runs about $10 also. This is over 2 years old, so we don't use it. It says on here to discard after 2 years of opening. So if we had bought a bunch of these and hadn't opened them, we could just open a new one, take the seal off, it'd be fine. And then after we water everything, or fertilize everything, we're going to add this foliar spray. Now, does this work? I don't know. This is my first year using it. You spray your leaves of your plants, and it's supposed to help them take up nutrients. I've never used it, so we're going to find out this season how well that works. And I'm going to try to get all the extra fertilizer off my little spoon here. And make sure that you take the excess off and you clean your spoon, because this stuff will build up and it is nasty. I had to clean this one from last year and it was so thick on there. It took me like a good 20-minute soak to get everything off. So I've cleaned my spoon. Let me put my spoon away somewhere safe. Put the top of my jugs and give it a good hearty shake like a bartender. Then I'm making a mixed cocktail for your plants. That one's good. Now, if this was granular, I would have to shake hard to get it to break down, and I don't want to spend that kind of time. So indoors in the while I'm doing this, I use a hearty liquid fertilizer so that it breaks down, because I don't feel like shaking that much. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to push all my plants, make sure you don't pinch any leaves, all the way down. And in this tray, you don't have to put much. Because this is a half tray and it's only about 2/3 full, I'm not going to put as much as I would if this tray was entirely full. So you just pour the water into the bottom or the fertilizer. And I'm only going to go probably 1/4 to 1/2 inch deep. And that's it. And that will feed them for the next week. If these were dry, okay, here's seed packets that didn't germinate. If your soil goes like this, your soil becomes what's called hygroscopic. It won't absorb water. So you're actually going to have to take and get some water on top slowly, let the soil rehydrate, and then you can bottom water. Do we top water? No, because that can cause to splashing. The water can get on the leaves. This way we keep down any blight for our tomatoes, any powdery mildew, anything like that. So we always bottom water. And like I said, we're going to take our spray, our foliar spray, and make sure it's turned on. And we just lightly spritz the top of our seedlings. They say to do underneath, but I'm not going to sit here and flip all these over. And that's it for that tray. And then I'm going to grab our celery tray, and we're going to do the same thing. So here's our celery. Celery seeds are hard to plant because they're so tiny that we group them, and eventually, once they get stronger, I will prick them out, or I will trim them. So there's only one celery per cell. Grab our water. Pour just about 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch. A little foliar spray. Now I'd say that I don't know if this works because I've never done it, but I have seen people who will spray it on their roses, who will spray it on various other plants. These here are the bell peppers, and if you lift and they're heavy, then you know that you don't need to water. But if you lift and they're light like this one, and this one's starting to dry out, it's not completely dried out, so I know it'll accept some water. Again, now since these ones are a little drier, I'm probably going to go 1/2 inch to 1 inch, because they do need to be watered, and they do need food. There we go. And I don't like to some people will look at their plants and see if they need to be watered. I look at how my soil is, if it's dry or not. Some people will wait for their plants to wilt. Now this is a good sign they need to be watered. Also, if you can't tell by the soil or by the weight. So we're going to set those back in there. And my foliar spray is right here. Give them a good hearty spritz. We're looking for any discolored leaves while we do this, other than yellow. Seed leaves will eventually fall off on their own. You don't have to pick them. Sometimes I do. And if they fall off, it's no big deal, but I don't let them sit on top of the soil because that can create mold. So, okay, one other thing I want to show you is, if you checked out our last video that was posted a couple weeks ago, we cut these seedlings, these onion seedlings, down to that tall. Do you remember? If you look at them now, those are, my hand's about 6.5 inches. These are about 7 inches now. Okay, so for those of you that said that I'm going to kill my onion seedlings by pruning them and cutting everything back, I say nay, nay. They are growing strong. Matter of fact, they had doubled in height from what I pruned them to in 2 days. Okay, so these really quick need to be fertilized. They are drying out. They also need to be watered. These we're going to give a good healthy dose. Now, how many? We have 7 full trays in here of seedlings. How many gallon jugs is it going to take of fertilizer to do all 8 trays? Sorry, 8, which is 2 of these shelves here. But our onions are on a timer over here on our gardener rack for only about 6 to 8 hours. These get 8 to 10 hours of sun, and they're doing really well, as you can tell. I don't know if the foliar spray will work for onions, so I'm not going to spray them. Remember, you want to take and once a day, maybe twice a day, come in, just run your hand over your seedlings, make them move. It'll help them get stronger and bigger. This is the best I've ever grown onions so far. I'm hoping that this watering will make them perk up, make them stand up, get a little bit stockier. We may be pruning them back again, like we did 2 weeks ago. But in about a month, those are going to go outside and go on the ground. So we'll show you that. We're also going to direct seed some. So I'm going to go ahead and fertilize the rest of my seedlings so I can get to a work function for my wife today. I do thank you for your time. Remember to hit that subscribe button so you can see us throughout the season as we do all of our plant chats, which is taking care of our seedlings and our plants. And then we have the Garden Gab, that is a weekly show that we're going to talk about how to do various things in the garden. We'll also bring you with you. We're doubling the size of our garden this year because we are growing so much more. And last year I ended up with seedlings I didn't have a place for. We're going to do more container gardening. For those that don't have a place for a garden, you want to do containers. We do tomatoes and peppers and lettuce and all that stuff in containers on our grow tables. We'll show you that. We got a lot of exciting stuff for this season, and I really hope you will come and join us. So subscribe, ring the bell so you get notified when we do it. Like and share this video. It will really help us out. And I thank you for joining the Hill Gardens today with our plant chat. Remember to keep your food spicy, your thumb green, and we'll talk to you later. Have a fantastic day.